Hello and welcome to Spanish A-Level at Richard Taunton Sixth Form College. My name is Jackie Finney and I have taught Spanish at Richard Taunton's for over 10 years now. I did French and Spanish at Southampton University many years ago, and I have taught many things at Taunton's, including French A-Level and history, as well as over 10 years of A-Level Spanish. I love Spanish principally because I absolutely love Spain. I love everything about Spanish culture, from the food to the music and the dancing to the varied geography and the beauty of the mountains in the north of Spain and the arid landscape and heat of the south of Spain. I love being able to communicate in a foreign language. From my experience, people warm to you so much more if you can speak their native tongue, learn their mannerisms and appreciate, enjoy and participate in their culture. I have spent time in northern Spain teaching English. The other great thing about learning a foreign language is being able to travel more easily. My studies at university took me to Ecuador in South America, where I worked in an orphanage. A completely different world to Europe. It enabled me to experience South American culture and some of the differences in how they speak Spanish, as well as the problems and issues that arise from living in essentially what is a very poor country. Let's look at an overview of the Spanish A-Level course. You'll see from this PowerPoint slide that it is 100% exam-based. So that involves having a listening, reading and translation exam, as well as a writing exam and a speaking exam. The entry requirements are at least 5 GCSEs at grade 5 or above, including grade 6 in English language and grade 6 in GCSE Spanish. This is purely because the jump between GCSE and A-Level is massive, and you need to make sure that you've done the higher paper in your GCSE Spanish in order to be able to cope with the A-Level. So, in Spanish we will study many different topics, some light-hearted and others more serious. We start with aspects of Hispanic society, namely traditional and modern values around the changing nature of the family, and then moving on to the role of the internet and smartphones and the role they play in all our lives, especially in Hispanic society, and finishing with a topic on equality. We look at equal rights for women and LGBT plus groups and how these rights vary in different Hispanic communities around the world. We then look at artistic culture in the Hispanic world and the influence of music and sporting heroes in Spain and Latin America, followed by regional identity in Spain and how different regions have their own languages and festivals and dishes. Finally, we finish the first year by looking at cultural heritage, history, art, architecture and music in Latin America. In the second year, the topics are a lot more about issues in the news affecting Hispanic society and the wider world. So we start off by talking about immigration, racism and integration, then move on to young people and political activism and unemployment, followed by a historical module on monarchies and dictatorships, ending with social movements and the impact of protests such as Las Madres de la Plaza de Mayo in Argentina, the mothers who had campaigned for their children who had disappeared during the military dictatorship from 1977 and 2006. You will also have the opportunity to study a film and a book. In the first year, we tend to study a film called Laberinto del Fauno, Pan's Labyrinth. It's a wonderful film with a mysterious and intriguing plotline set just after the Spanish Civil War under the dictator General Franco, and contains many hidden themes and messages which we will analyse, as well as lots of twists and turns. In the second year, we study a novel called Crónica de una muerte anunciada by Gabriel García Márquez, Chronicle of a Death Foretold, set in Colombia in a rural village in the 1950s. It is a tale of revenge and honour, and again gives us a fascinating insight into society at that time. It is important to note that you can study an AS in Spanish independently to the full A-level. If you already have 3 courses you'd like to do, but fancy keeping up your language skills and getting extra UCAS points, you can either do the AS level, which is half of an A-level, in 1 year or 2 years at Richard Taunton's as well. The full A-level is a linear 2-year course. All types of learners are welcome on the course, and I think there is something for everybody here. As studying a language gives you so many different skills. You may be somebody who likes numbers and patterns and will most probably excel at learning grammar rules and conjugating verbs. You may be a chatty extrovert like me who just wants to give it a go and speak out, not minding if I get it wrong. Or you may have a deep interest in history or geography and how a society works, and would generally enjoy a thorough case study of a Latin American country. Studying a language can work very well with all manner of courses, including maths, music, history, English literature, English language, business studies, sociology and sciences, and many more. Language lessons are often very varied and bouncy, and students often find they complement their other subjects really well. The jump from GCSEs to A-levels is very high indeed, as you go from talking about your family at GCSE, how old your brothers and sisters are, what your pets are called, etc. Then in A-level, we will be debating topics such as, is marriage an outdated institution? However, you also have a huge jump in teaching hours, as you will receive 5 hours teaching a week for each A-level course, and experienced as we are, we ease you in gently. Learning a language is all about vocabulary. The more words you know, the more you can understand, as well as communicate back. So we give you weekly vocab tests and lists in order to broaden your vocabulary. We also start with the basics of grammar, from the present tense, to make sure everyone is in the same place. Interesting topics include the fight for equality among women in Hispanic countries, the culture of fame and the effect of reality TV shows in Spain, the social impact of the work of Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera and other Mexican artists in 20th century Mexico, Hispanic immigration to the USA and how this impacts American culture, the Cuban Revolution and Castro's dictatorship. The topic of immigration is particularly pertinent in Europe at the moment, with the pictures in the news of many immigrants arriving in Europe in battered dinghies. Hispanic influence in the USA continues to be a hot topic in the news, with Donald Trump's infamous wall between the USA and Mexico, as well as the upcoming elections and the Hispanic vote. So let's look at the skills that you will develop when learning a foreign language. Needless to say, there are countless skills that you will develop that will be extremely important for future study and for the world of work. Starting with communication and presentation skills. Speaking a foreign language enables you to communicate and connect with other people from a foreign culture. As I mentioned before, people warm to you so much more if you can communicate with them in their native tongue. This enables you to build lifelong friendships with people from another culture, close business deals more easily, etc. Moving on to advancing your career. So speaking a foreign language undoubtedly helps you to advance your career, as it sets you apart from your monolingual peers. Language skills are among the top 8 skills required amongst all occupations. As for cognitive benefits, well, science has proven that people who are bilingual have improved memory, problem solving and critical thinking skills, enhanced concentration, and the ability to multitask as well as listen. Ability to travel. We've mentioned this before. I've experienced this in my own life. I think as well as the ability to travel more easily, speaking a foreign language gives you a deeper appreciation of the art and literature of that foreign language. For example, reading something in its native tongue compared to a translation, you can appreciate a work of art so much more in its native setting. And lastly, why not become a polyglot? So once you are fluent in 2 languages, it is actually much easier to learn a third and so on, and increase your skills and increase your employability. Small class sizes at Richmond Taunton Sixth Form College mean that as your teacher, I am always able to keep a close eye on your progress and help you whenever it's needed. The languages classroom is well equipped with a computer for each student so that you can access work online and listening files really speedily and easily. We have incredibly high rates of success, achieving 75% A to A star last year and excellent value added. So we have a long record of achieving top grades at A-level in Spanish at Richard Taunton's. As for enrichment, the perfect enrichment is to visit the country of the language that you are studying. And in the past, we have run an exchange program to Spain, northern Spain, as well as a Spanish trip to Madrid. An exchange program is the perfect way to become completely immersed in the foreign language, increasing your fluency, experiencing family life and school in Spain, as well as a perfect way to make a new friend. Some of my former students are still in touch with their exchange partners 5 years on and have been back for numerous holidays and trips to festivals. The trip to Madrid offers a very cultural experience, visiting art galleries, museums and theatre, and enriching your knowledge of Spanish history and culture. We also have numerous Spanish and Latin American films available to watch in the library, which I thoroughly recommend and try to use in our teaching as much as possible, as I believe, once again, this opens your eyes to what it is like to live in Spain or Latin America. Moving on to progression. A high percentage of students at Richard Taunton Sixth Form College progress to study languages at university. Some choose to study straight Spanish, others Spanish with law, Spanish with business, maybe management studies, others Spanish with music, English or history. Some choose to take up a new language too, such as Italian, Russian or Mandarin. The possibilities are endless. Some of our former students have become teachers, working in sixth form colleges themselves or secondary schools. One has become a commercial pilot. Others have gone on to further studies and done PhDs. One recently represented the University of Liverpool in University Challenge a few years ago. And others have moved to work in the tourism industry, the world of business and PR, marketing. Careers in the Foreign Office, journalism, translation, publishing, teaching, HR are among the most common. Here are a few companies you may not have thought of who regularly employ linguists. Some of them as purchasers and buyers in Spain or Latin America. Others, like the Secret Service, may train you up in a different language, such as Arabic, as once they know that you can speak one language really well, there's no reason why you can't learn another language. Amazon were recently employing linguists to decode security messages on their French and Spanish websites. So there are lots of jobs out there for linguists that you may not have thought of. Lastly, I would encourage you very strongly to take Spanish at A-level. It is a very varied and interesting course with something for everyone. And always remember, speaking a foreign language makes you incredibly desirable to an employer. I look forward to seeing you in September. Thank you so much for watching.